Yeah, I just gotta check some emails and stuff real fast. Okay. All right. I'll finally get a chance to sit down. Noticed I had a new message earlier, but did not get to it
Yeah, I just
yet.
gotta check some
Let's
emails and
see
stuff real
here.
fast.
Hey,
Okay.
Nathaniel, check out this awesome new trailer. Well, I do like movie trailers, so.
Our whole faith started because one man chose a
All
hill he was willing to
right.
die on.
Finally get a chance to sit down. Notice. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. Welcome to Divine Disbelief, a special welcome to one brain bug who, yes, is talking about spiders in the comments, and I just am not okay with this. But I believe, sir, you are turning like 19 today or something. So congratulations on making it to being able to. I don't know. I hope you had a great day. I hope you had a great birthday and all of that. And we do look forward to seeing you this autumn. That is, of course, if the Antifa fires don't burn down the entire fucking Pacific Northwest. Welcome in as well, everybody else that might be here. Please, by the way, let me know. The audio should be fixed this week. Please let me know if it's not, because I'll have a fucking aneurysm. As you may have noticed in the introduction, there's a new God's Not Dead film coming out. Yay for that, I guess. Wow, the grift of the "Hey Scotty, Jesus bro" will literally never stop. I mean, goodness gracious, what is wrong with them? No, it's nothing what's wrong with them, actually. They're making a fuck ton of money, and they're building upon this Christian persecution complex mythology shit that they have, and they're just like, you know what? If we're gonna keep on making a fuck ton of money, why not just do that? And so there they are, making money again. What's his David A.R. White, Pastor Dave? Good for good for you, Pastor Dave. Remember the Book of Acts, and they said to give all of your shit to the poor? Yeah, I remember that. Yours though is like, give me all of your money and I'm gonna keep it. That's a David A.R. White thing, and it makes sense. Color of your skin, you dick. Anyways, hey, Scotty. We received in the mail a personalized letter from the folks over at the Bin Podcast. Right here. The Bin. And this is a really, really awesome podcast that is on the YouTubes. They've got a Patreon as well. Look, they even gave us a larger one, so I can put this somewhere and look at just of all these amazing and gorgeous and beautiful faces that it just won't focus on. Stupid camera. Anyways, the Bin Podcast, they sent us those and they wrote us a fabulous letter. And it says, from the bottom of our hearts, we would like to thank you ever so much for your support of the show. It has been a long journey, but we would have never made it without the amazing and beautiful backup that all of you, the patrons, provide. So, from Mikey, Brenna, Jartan, and your Lord Wanker of Essex, we love you and thank you for believing in us. Cheers. And by the way, this is my favorite thing. I don't know where it won't put the photo there. You can see it. It's around there somewhere. There. You got your tanker bug. Awesome. It won't show it, but he's shirtless.
Wayne was in a boy band.
Back here. Can you see it back here? Look at it. Look at this. My phone doesn't autocorrect Funko anymore. It knows what I'm saying. Okay, I'm gonna change my shirt. Babe, can I have my shirt? Excuse me. Yeah. What, I'm gonna throw it back to you so I can take this thing. I hurt my shoulder. I can't do it. Can I? Thank you so much. Anyway. There. That went over there. Stop looking. These are all looking at me and my hairy chesty. I got it. I've. Oh, it's gonna mess up my beard. There we go. It's amazing how you learn how to do beard stuff whenever. There we are. Okay. Oh, back in form. Okay. How about we get to the news? Because the news is new. By the way, if you happen to hear one of the corgis doing stuff, that's just what corgis do. And so we'll just put up with it. Anyways, so the Church of Christ is actually doing something about the whole thing that basically all of white America, which means, I don't know, 99% of fundamentalist evangelical Christians, says doesn't exist. And that, of course, is racism. This tiny little graphic that I put right here. Racism. This is what it says. The resolution calls the United Church of Christ to declare and respond to racism as a public health crisis. Well, that's pretty awesome. They go on here in this, again, tiny graphic. I promise one of these days I'm going to get this right. The time is far past due for this mission to remain only a glimmer of what is possible. Further, this delay is not merely an intellectual or theological exercise for people of color or others impacted by health disparities. It speaks to lived reality and to the cry of generations wailing, "Our bones are dry, our hope is gone, and we are doomed." They go on to talk about racial inequalities, intersectionality, why anti-racism is important. Lots of really great stuff. So for as much gruff as atheists give Christians, a fair amount of it is deserved, the Church of, I wrote Chris, so congratulations, Chris, if you exist out there, you've got a church, is doing some pretty cool stuff. Good on them. And so definitely read that whole thing. It's a full resolution, and it's in the description of the show, or it will be at some point. I don't know. Ask Susan. Next, I've been better at it. Next, a new study shows a dramatic gap in religious diversity between the Southeast and much of the country. Yeah, we fucking know, Washington Post. Seriously, who doesn't know that? They say this. Where did it go? Anyways, some regions of the country remain religiously homogenous, especially the Southeast, and charts the growing political influence of the religiously unaffiliated, whose presence has more than doubled in both major parties in recent years. And this kind of makes sense, but we also live in Portland, the least religious and whitest, by design, city in the country. We're in a little bit of a bubble, but the information from the country's 3,142 counties shows a broad spectrum of beliefs. White Christians, where did it go? Oh, that was the one right there. Is it this one? Yeah, there it is. See, I knew I had it. Again, one of these days, 100%. It wouldn't be a show if I didn't mess one of those up. White Christians have gone, as a proportion of the U.S. population, from 65% in 1996 to 42% in 2018. PRRI, which is the Pew Research Rhode Island, found that the number ticked up in 2019 and 2020 to 44%, and other major pollsters found slightly different numbers, with Pew Research saying it was 40% in 2020. Okay, fine. Then it's not Pew Research. It's Puerto Rico, Rhode Island.
You enjoy making this
in a graph which likely surprises zero people who would ever watch this. More young adults, those of us under 40, sorry, brain bug, are religiously unaffiliated than any other demographic, except for babies. Because I guess they're atheists?
No.
I don't know. Sometimes we don't logic so well. As mentioned before, the unaffiliated does not mean non-believer. So don't go running around saying, see, there's a lot of us non-believers. No, it simply means they're unaffiliated. Speaking of religious percentages and graphs, nobody is more in touch with the numbers that have to do with religiosity and all of this stuff than Ryan Burge, right? Burge? That's what we said? Burge. Who you should definitely follow on Twitter and get his books and stuff. I feel like I've mentioned it before, more than once actually. Go buy his stuff. He is so awesome and important, and he teaches. He's a professor or something at Eastern Illinois. They're in Susan's conference. I think they're the Cardinals or they're red. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty certain they're in your conference. And I don't know. Now, did you know there are Jewish people who stand in solidarity against attacks on Israelis and other Jewish people, but also aren't a fan of the whole all attacks on Israel are anti-Semitic trope? What a fucking thing. There was a rally this past Saturday with all three major Jewish denominations, which is the Jewish Federations of North America, the Anti-Defamation League, the American Jewish Committee, and the leading Republican and Democratic Jewish groups, all in attendance. But, tiny freaking thing on the screen. How do you like this? Thing is tiny. But Rabinowitz, who is the organizer of the Ally, said he hit a brick wall with more than a few large left-leaning organizations, including J Street, Trua, and Americans for Peace Now, which declined invitations to co-sponsor the rally. A number of other groups on the left, whose representatives declined to speak, got wind of the rally through an email blast solicitations, and decided against participating. Now, you might be asking, why would they not participate in something that would be an incredible opportunity? It was this past Sunday for solidarity and showing that within the Jewish community. Well, they let us know. Hadar Suskind, and I am so sorry if I mispronounced the name, American for Peace Now's president, said the gulf was too wide between groups like his and sponsors on the right, such as the Zionist Organization of America and Stand With Us. It's not just that we disagree with these groups on other issues. We disagree with these groups on this issue, he said, referring to how one defines anti-Semitism. He cited an example how these groups describe the movement to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel, known as BDS, as anti-Semitic. Basically, if you're looking to, BDS is looking to boycott Israel, they say because you're looking to boycott Israel, you're anti-Semitic. The principal organizer, Alliance for Israel, mentions, quote, the destructive anti-Semitic lies of the BDS movement on its About Us page. Now, Suskind said that his group does not back BDS, but objected to defining it as anti-Semitic. Quote, this rally looks like it will conflate criticism of the occupation and criticism of Israeli actions with anti-Zionism, and will say that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic, and we want no part of that. Which makes perfect sense. There can be no solidarity with those who want to wipe out Palestinians who are living on their own land, which the fucking United Nations recognizes as theirs, while saying that any who speak negatively of the actions of Israel are anti-Semitic. You know, like that time they tried to label Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim, as anti-Semitic when she said, I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it's okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country. I want to ask why it is okay for me to talk about the influence of the NRA, of fossil fuel industries, or big pharma, and not talk about a powerful lobbying group that is influencing policies. Newsflash. That's not fucking anti-Semitic. Speaking, though, of Israel, David Rosenberg of Haaretz wrote not to make fun of a rabbi's, quote, disparaging remarks about schooling until you've looked at how poorly Israel ranks on skills and education. Rabbi Yosef, who they're speaking about obviously, said that math and science are, quote, nonsense. Now, I've got to level with you here, Rabbi. Not everybody can be Ken Ham. Find a new shtick. Important to note that between 10 and 12% of Israelis don't have the education to contribute to a modern economy, with the number forecast to reach 20% by 2039. The other Israeli students, so between 88 and 90%, are educated so poorly that they are either at or near the bottom of all nations when it comes to math, reading, and science. And I thought the United States was bad. I mean, it is. The United States is bad. We can't even agree that racism is bad, okay? So, the United States, not great. But I think that we should agree that math and science matter, right? No, we don't. We really don't. Our country doesn't. We don't do that. We literally don't do that. Jesus Christ. We don't. We're a failed experiment. Anyways, let's come back stateside. After the Anglican bishop leading an investigation into alleged abuse at one of their churches in Illinois took a leave of absence because of regrettable errors, we'll get to those, in handling the allegations, ACNA, which I'm guessing, again, is air conditioning not applicable, have decided to take over the investigation. That's what they say in Seattle when they ask you if you're getting a house. And this stems from allegations against Mark Rivera, a former lay leader at Church Our Light Anglican, an ACNA, which, by the way, if I have not mentioned, stands for Atlantic Coast North America, startup congregation in Big Rock, Illinois, west of Chicago, has been charged with felony child sex abuse and faces a trial this fall. At least 10 survivors, 10, have alleged abuse by Rivera. Now, before going to Christ Our Light, Rivera had been a member of Church of the Resurrection, a prominent ACNA congregation in Wheaton, Illinois, where he'd also worked with the youth. Because of that, former members of Resurrection's congregation complain, rightfully fucking so, that Rutch, that's the person's name, should have informed the diocese of Rivera's alleged abuse. Yeah, you fucking think? But, that's not it. Although abuse allegations were reported to law enforcement in 2019, Bishop Stuart Rutch III of the Anglican Diocese of the Upper Midwest did not inform church members for 2 years. By the way, that's this year. When we say for 2 years, from 2019, again, United States and Israel, not great at math, this seems like 2. Okay, we can count that high, right? There you go. Until this year, abuse survivors and advocates have been, quote, critical of Rutch's handling of these abuse allegations, arguing he took too long to inform members of the diocese about the abuse, Yeah, this is when you don't do the Joe Paterno thing and you decide you're going to go ahead and just like, maybe take fucking action. Isn't it just super dandy that the bishops decided that they weren't going to do anything? Way to go. Just. And now they're investigating themselves like the cops do. And I'm certain they're going to find nothing wrong with anything and say everybody acted appropriately and all that. And maybe the young black man who was unarmed shouldn't have been running away. Maybe they'll be like, you know what? That maybe the kid shouldn't have been in the bathroom or something. Who knows? I mean, everybody's bound to rape, I guess. He's gonna come in and clip that shit. Like, how many fucking excuses are you gonna make? Oh, you just won't tell anybody about sexual abuse of more than 10. Huh. Tennessee, the volunteer state, have volunteered themselves for polio. I mean, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that polio can come back. Can it? Can polio come back? I don't. I thought it was too, but I mean, it's Tennessee. Anyways, yay for that. So, but there's other stuff in the news with the Tennessee, and the TBI, not the Tuberculosis Institute, but rather the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They did a thing, and it was not investigating the University of Tennessee to find out why has your football program sucked forever. Literally, Philip Fulmer was a good coach, and now you basically fired him, and there's no T. Martin coming back, Tennessee, all right? Peyton Manning can't drag his balls across anybody else's fucking face, all right? He's not going to be there. So what's going on? Phil Neyland Stadium. I want to see the goddamn band on the field, not Stanford, the other one, yours, which is better or whatever. Anyways, the TBI conducted a sting operation and arrested 18 men in a Spring Hill, Tennessee, human trafficking operation. Among the 18, this handsome devil right here. His name is Matthew Brewer, who was charged with solicitation of a minor after he responded to advertisements placed by undercover police designed to identify, quote, those seeking commercial sex acts with minors, or as we call them, Matt Gaetz invitations. You knew that was coming, right? I mean, I was just like, that one was just coming. Oh, I forgot to mention that this guy was also a National Guard chaplain. And I also forgot to mention that prior to this happening this week, he was also the youth pastor at Fairfield Baptist Church in Centerville, Tennessee, who I'm just gonna guess is not aligned center politically. But great job, Baptists, again, for again this. Because we are going to get into how awful you are with your whole hiring the best leaders bullshit in a later episode. I promise. We're actually going to. But for now, yeah, it's bad. But for now, moving on. I asked Susan this question earlier, and I will ask all of you right now. No, this is the question I asked you. And can you guess who the most LGBTQ affirming faith is in the United States? I'm going to sit here, because you see this stuff in the comments, and I realized there's like a 10-second delay or something. What is it, 10 seconds for our channel? I don't really know. I want to get the Justin Timberlake delay, without, exposing somebody without their consent. Period. No.
Damn it.
Yeah, don't expose people without their consent. And maybe not at all. Anyways, the most LGBTQ affirming faith in the United States, if you said the Methodists, you were wrong. Because it's the pagans. I love this whole thing right here, by the way. Just the graphic. It is one of my favorite graphics that I've seen here. Yeah, it's definitely not Mormons. In a recent study, likely 93% of American pagans agree with policies supporting LGBTQ rights, a larger share than the 69% of non-pagans. The next closest are white mainline Protestants at 82%, followed by Hispanic Catholics at 81%. Now, David Salisbury, a pagan author and LGBTQ plus advocate, said some pagan groups have introduced what he calls queer mythology into their practice, incorporating deities such as the Greek god Dionysus, traditionally accepted as queer. In some instances, mythologies and practices that skew toward a heterosexual understanding of sexuality and the world, such as Wiccan god and goddess myths, have been reinterpreted. Now, they do get into the fact that many LGBTQ pagans don't feel comfortable even expressing who they are, pagan and LGBTQ, or pagan and queer, outside their communities because it is too dangerous. And important to note that some do face hostility within the pagan community. Now, even with the small amount of said hostility and a feeling of exclusion by some of those who are not white, this is still by far the most accepting community for those who are queer. We all have steps to take to get better, to move forward, to push for equality and equity. And those who are secular should take note and follow the lead of the pagans. At least when it comes to this. Speaking of pagans, evangelicals. Did you know that they are the base of the former president's power and success and all of that bullshit, and also the insurrection that they tried to do where they literally said hang Mike Pence, who was the vice president at the time, and they were within like 60 feet of getting to them, and they wanted to literally murder the governor of Michigan? It's Whitmer, yeah? Yeah, they literally wanted to do that, where they stormed the Capitol and tried to overthrow the government. I don't know if you've heard of them, but it's them. It's the white evangelicals. It's the white evangelicals. It's the far white. Did you know that they are the base of that whole thing? Yes, of course you did. That's why you're here. There is a new movement within the movement that is the new movement, which is, surprise, surprise, religiously and openly political. This group wants what's known as an American kingdom. Here's the thing, guys. We already did that. We have like an entire empire. We stole everything, murdered everybody, and set up a whole like white colonization all around the fucking world. It's what we're doing right now.
True.
We're doing some sort of white ops operation in probably every country in the fucking world, attempting to overthrow literally everything. Manifest Destiny was literally God gave us this stuff, and we're going to go and tame it. Okay, we already do this. So the whole kingdom thing, we've already done this. You didn't hear Susan. Mission work is colonization. It is. It is. But this is what they want. They want a nation under God's authority. I don't really know what that means and how one could actually tell that it'd be under God's authority. As far as I can tell, you could say that it's under anybody's authority and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's just one thing about this stuff. How do you know that the person who's answering your prayers is not a different God? No, it's not Satan. You know what I mean? Anyways, we already know that they just want to have a fucking theocracy. 100%. I mean, come on. The beginning of this, we played this clip from this new God's Not Dead film. By the way, Kevin Max was 1/3 of the band DC Talk, and he is, what is he? He's older than I am. And so there's Kevin Max, and then there's Toby Mac, who I'm fairly certain is a liberal, but I don't actually know. I know that he made a organization back in the 90s and then into the 2000s called Erase, spelled ERACE, which was eliminating racism and creating equality. Appreciate that. But Michael Tate, by the way, Kevin Max is, what did he say? He's a universalist. He's a lefty. He's a huge fan of John Lennon. And he has new music coming out, I think next month. I'm very excited to purchase it. Anyways, Michael Tate is the other guy. He's the one who's like the lead singer of what is now the Newsboys. Because they used to be Peter Furler, the Newsboys, back when I liked them. I don't know, 20 years ago. How old am I? Anyways, and he's involved in this God's Not Dead bullshit. And he's got like the song. They can't even think of a new song. Like, you know, get a new song, man. I'm just saying. Or change something. Anyways, they had this persecution complex thing where they're like, do you know that we want a nation under God's authority and all this stuff? Yeah, we know you do. We've seen your fucking movies. We know what you want, and we know how you have this mythological persecution complex. All that bullshit. But at the center of their new push, Mercy Culture Church in Fort Worth, Texas. Because of course it fucking is. The church was founded in 2019 and has grown so much, there are now 3 services every Sunday with a total attendance of about 4,500 people. They're also branching out with Spanish-speaking services and are looking to branch out into the rest of the fucking country. Yay. Their beliefs, demons are real. Okay, that's base. Like base Christianity. Miracles are real, and the ultimate mission is not just transforming individual lives, but also turning civilization itself into their version of God's kingdom. One with 2 genders, something Jesus mentioned, no abortion, he totally mentioned that too, a free market economy, Jesus was a socialist, Bible-based education, I don't even know what that means, church-based social programs, again, what are those? And laws such as the ones curtailing LGBTQ rights now moving through state houses across the country. Again, I don't know what most of these things are, but I know that Jesus didn't mention any of them. Oh, never mind. He definitely did mention the free market economy thing. And I'm pretty certain that he tossed over those tables a couple different times. Well, in the stories. Real life, who knows? He probably just yelled at people like, stop it, you. My dad is not going to be happy when he comes home. He's coming back any fucking minute. They are growing quickly. And it is terrifying. This is a larger and more dangerous version of Christianity than the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptists, or NIFB, or NIFB. NIFB. We protested 2 years ago. Susan took the lead, Aaron Ross sideways, took the lead in the organization of these protests, and there were more of us outside of the church than there were people that went inside. Worshippers, church attendees, I don't know, bunch of fucking white bigots. And they actually tried to get people there. We're going to give you ice cream if there's more. Seriously, remember? Yeah, it didn't work. And they remember the first week we were there, they were trying to say shit to us, but the second week they just drove by. Oh, he said you were only get ice cream if you set a record, which they didn't.
No, he said you get ice cream, but there's more congregationalists than protesters.
There were not.
No.
There were not. There were more of us.
They still.
Yep, oh, man. Yeah, that's Susan. And there we are. And the fact that there were more of us would not be the case with these new churches. They are organizing politically as well, and the church's former pastor was nearly elected mayor of Fort Worth, the seat of Tarrant County, which was, prior to 2018, the last Republican metropolitan stronghold in the country. And we flipped that shit blue.
Yeah.
I'm proud to have been part of that, by the way. So, yeah, these folks are dangerous, and they want to create a fucking theocracy. Also, so do these folks. They believe that LGBTQ people should be stoned by the government, and that women who commit adultery should be stoned, but not the men, by the way. And then there's something else, right? Yeah, LGBTQ people, and then children. Yeah, whatever they call those. Yeah, so that's a thing with the NIFB folks, and it's probably not far off from these other theocratic pieces of shit. We call them Puritans. Ask the Wampanoag. Just saying. Or any indigenous and First Nations tribe that people became a part of in, like, that white people decided to, I don't know, do a genocide. I feel like I talked about this last week. And so, yeah, probably should do our best to stop them. So organize, Texas, and get shit done. Do stuff, Texas. Engaging on their politics. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, here's something real quick. There's a lot of things that this cancel culture and this whole idea of what are they talking about? What's Chick-fil-A today, I guess? Lindsey Graham was talking about Chick-fil-A today and how he totally stands against Notre Dame, the university in Indiana, right? He was speaking against the Catholics. Imagine an evangelical speaking against the Catholics. You don't even think they're fucking Christians, you dick, right? And he's talking about Chick-fil-A and how he's always going to support Chick-fil-A. And then they're sitting there talking about critical race theory, and they're talking, which, by the way, did you notice that went away? Did you notice they're not talking about it anymore? Yeah, I wonder why. Actually, I don't wonder why. All of these things they're talking about, they're not real. They're not real things. The reason they're doing it is because they are sidetracking things. They are deflecting away from the fact that they have no policy. Don't fall for it. They don't have any policy, period. They have none. If they did, they would have attempted to implement it by now. They don't have any, and they have admitted it over and over and over again. Mitch McConnell even said back in 2014, that in 2012 as well, that his only job was to stop President Barack Obama, period. And they also said it's the only thing they're trying to do this year and next year. They don't have policy. So don't give in to their distractions and their deflections and bullshit like that. Also, God, can we get rid of Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin? I have said they're Republicans for a very long time. Lightning rounds! It's going to be quick. A replica of Noah's Ark. I mean, I guess it's a replica. I don't know. Do we even know what it looks like? Nope. Is in the UK is, quote, not safe and isn't allowed to go into the water at all because it doesn't float.
Didn't Ken Ham have the same?
Ken Ham, I don't think, ever had his boat try to go in the water. This one, you can't even make a modern day boat that floats. Come on, man. Yeah, the replica is in Ipswich at the waterfront. It's going to stay there, and yeah, I hope it fucking sinks. But also, I kind of hope it doesn't, because I don't need things to pollute any more than we already have. Yeah, nearly 96% of Hindus support gun control, which is the highest in the nation, and maybe surprising to some, over 84% of white evangelicals do. Yeah, we're talking about universal background checks and not allowing gun sales without background checks at gun shows and stuff like that. 80, yeah, and the boyfriend loophole and stuff like that. 84%. You can see up there as well. The Buddhists are second at 95.7. The atheists at 94.2. The Jewish folks 93.8. Agnostics 93.4. Look at us doing big things. Non-white Catholics, white Catholics, nothing in particular. What religion are you? I don't know. Yeah. Pretty. There you go. Most of them are above 90%, and that's actually really great. Now, maybe we should try to pass some legislation with the 84% of literal fucking Republicans saying, cool. By the way, welcome in Utah Outcasts and Maya. I think I already said hi to Titan and everybody else that's here. Oh, I didn't? I thought I did. Hi, Titan. How's my audio? And yeah, so there you go. How about insurrection news? Did you catch it? Did you catch what I did there? Insurrection news. A Florida man admitted to this, that's the way it's written, and I didn't catch it until right now. A Florida man has admitted to storming the Capitol, says the feds. Then he told the FBI, my pastor came with me. David L'Esperance. It's probably not nearly as cool as I just made it sound. His pastor, James Varnell Cussick Jr., and his pastor's son, wow, way to be a great leader there, Dad, and the church's vice president. Churches have vice presidents? I wonder if he was going to try to go up and be one of the ones who wanted to hang the actual vice president and basically try to take his place. It sounds like a great idea. And said, face multiple charges for doing an insurrection. Fucking idiots. Utah Governor Spencer Cox asks residents to pray for rain during a drought. You're literally doing nothing. Maybe ask the people in Salt Lake, the city, but also the lake is drying up. Maybe ask the people in Salt Lake City, hey, would you mind, since we're like in one of the driest states in the country? I'm serious, by the way. I think Utah is the driest state in the country. Would you mind not watering your yards so often? No, let's just pray it fucking rains. All right? Let's just would you mind not washing your car every weekend? No, let's pray for rain. Would it be okay if you didn't go to the water park this weekend, or also that we would shut down water parks? No, let's pray for rain. It's not working in Oregon. Why the fuck would you think it would work in Utah? Pray for rain. Could you hear me sighing in exasperation? And finally, Mackenzie Scott, former wife of the guy who ships things to people and doesn't pay taxes, gave $2.7 billion to religious groups who advocated for religious freedom while excluding one group, evangelicals, because they don't advocate for religious freedom. I kind of like her a lot. I'm just saying. That's pretty awesome. And I am a big fan of what she does and of her philanthropy, because she also gave a ton of money. Like, I don't remember if it was in the hundreds of millions or in the billions to HBCUs. Pretty awesome stuff there as well. Figured Susan would say something about that. Mackenzie Scott also gave, I think it was upwards of $1 billion to HBCUs. Yep. To which all of the universities that are majority white said, How dare you give those to the most marginalized people in the entire country when they haven't actually had the opportunity to go to college? It's us. Oh, we're so persecuted. We're like David A. on White. Jesus, man.
Scotty. Jesus, man.
I think that's it. There was a lot more, by the way. The Pope had colon surgery. So there you go. Lisa, you're coming in at the very end of this, but we are excited you're here anyways. Feel free to go back and watch from the beginning. We did put a new intro in today. Hope you like it. And other stuff. So we have a Patreon. I think Susan put it in the chat. Thank you for that, Susan. We also have a Twitter. I am PDX Secular Guy. She's Motel Cowboy. The dogs are Dose Corgis 15. I think we're also on Facebook and Insta.
Yeah.
We're on both of those. And other things that we do. I'm on Twitter a lot. Oh, yeah, buy me a coffee. In fact. And we will actually use that $5 for coffee. Part of it, anyways. Starbucks will give us like I don't know, a quarter. Like they'd be like, here's, yeah, we have tons of those. Here's a tiny bit of coffee. Thanks, Starbucks.
Okay.
And you did get a cool. Yeah, it was really great. So I think that is all, love.
Yep. You gonna go watch Loki?
We're gonna go and watch the last episode of Loki. That's right. You can be jealous. It's okay. And then Susan's gonna fall asleep. We went up to Lewitt last night. That is the indigenous name for what people call Mount St. Helens. We refuse to call it that. So we went up there. We took a bunch of really cool photos and put them on our Twitter today. So please feel free, please feel free to go and check those out. But thank you so much again for coming by. We love all of you very much. And if you would please have the opportunity, please share this out there. We spend a lot of time going through these things. And as you're aware, if you do anything like this, that it takes a lot of time. And we were really excited to see on a video that we did, it was 36 minutes long, that people watched where the average watch was above 35%, which is actually higher than our average. And we would like to continue to see that rise. So if you would please share that out there, we would really appreciate that. And by the way, thumbs up or thumbs down doesn't really matter, because all it does is it helps the algorithm. So